All right, we are in Chapter 6, Differential Equations, Packet D. This section out of our textbook actually comes from Chapter 8.5, but we would need this skill here in order to accomplish something we're going to do later on in this packet. So this is on partial fraction integration, and the AP exam only covers non-repeating linear factors. So later on, we'll get an example here of what a repeating linear factor looks like, just so you get the idea of why we're not going to do it. Or if you look at the Google slide notes, there is an example, and it actually goes over like 6 different slides on how long it takes to go ahead and solve those. All right, so we have our integral here. You can see we can't do a U substitution. We can't memorize this to go backwards. It's not a power rule. It's not a trig. There's no degree in the top. You're sort of stuck, all right? But we know we can factor that denominator, and notice they did get rid of the integral symbol and the dx. We're just going to simplify the integrand. So if I factor the denominator, I know what my denominator factors are, and let's say that came from a sum, right? Because if I added up 2 fractions, I would need a common denominator, and to do that, I would need to multiply to make sure that denominator was the same, right? And then you adjust your numerators. Well, in decomposing this fraction into its 2 original parts, I don't know these 2 numerator portions, where if you multiply them to adjust those numerators and then sum them to equal 1, I actually don't know where they started. So we're going to have to go backwards to determine that. So starting over here, if you multiply by the common denominator, that common denominator would be the quantity x minus 3, x minus 4. So if you're imagining a bit large bracket here and you did distributive property, right, the x minus 3's would cancel out, and you would have a times x minus 4, and then the x minus 4's would cancel out, and you would have b times the quantity x minus 3. And this equals 1 because on the other side as well, right, because we're going to do the same thing to both sides of the equation, I'm going to multiply by this quantity x minus 3, x minus 4, and that quantity would cancel out with that whole denominator, and we're left with a value of 1. All right, so later on, if this value is a 2x or a 7x, that's where we're getting this. This isn't just, just make up a 1 to put in there. All right, so let's clean this screen here so when we go to the next part, it's easier to read. All right, to solve for a and b, you could do a system of equations, it just takes a long time. But if we choose an x value, because right now there's 2 constants and 1 variable technically, but in the end, we've got a, b, and an x, and we don't really know who's who. We only have this one equation. So if I select a value for x, then I'm only down with 2 variables, but if I pick a unique value that gets rid of the x and gets rid of one of the other constant letters here, then I can solve for that third portion. All right, so if we say let x equals 4, we're going to take this first term here, and then that's going to go to a 0. So then I really have b times 1. Therefore, I know that b is equal to 1. And now if I do the same thing over here, right, I got x is 3. So now I know that this back term is going to go to 0. So I've got 1 is equal to a, 3 minus 4, which is a negative 1. Therefore, a is equal to negative 1. And now, in terms of how you wrote this the first time, all right, everybody factors, everyone is going to get this product of a minus 3 and a minus 4. It really doesn't matter mathematically which one you write under the a or under the b, but you chose one. So when we put them back into play here, you got to make sure that your value of 1 here goes in the correct spot. All right, and your value of negative 1 is going to go above the x minus 3. Okay, so now looking down at the bottom of the page, let's actually slide this up, give it a little clearer view. So we started with our quadratic in the denominator. We factored it, and then we learned how to decompose that fraction, right? We had our a of a negative 1, which replaces the a. So now with this expression, now that it is not a quadratic, I can use my natural log integration techniques to solve this question. This is, we do not need to do a u substitution because that du would be a 1 dx. So we're just taking that quantity and we're going to take the natural log. All right, so now we have a couple exam questions from the BC exam. This is a BC topic only. All right, so you know this topic will be on our assessment because it differentiates two courses. All right, on the AP exam, partial fraction integration questions, we'll use non-repeating. We talked about that. The integrate is already factored for the question, so it's not really a factoring question, it's a split up question. Okay, so then if we're going to take this first example from 2003, then I know I'm going to have my quantity here of where I'm going to multiply. Well, let's just write it out. So I've got my x, my plus 2, my x plus 1, right? No dx, no integral symbol. I'm going to have a, x plus 2. I'm going to have b, x plus 1. When I multiply everybody by that common denominator, so my i's are just matching up the parts that would not simplify off. All right, so then if we let x equal, let's move this part over. If we let x equal -1, now this left side turns into a -2. This portion's going to go to 0, and then I'm going to have b as a -2. And if I let x equal -2, now my left side is a -4. The b portion is going to go to 0, and I've got a -a, which means that a is equal to a +4. So then my integral then for this question, right, it started off as 2x, x plus 2, x plus 1 dx. And now we're going to switch it around. I've got a over x plus 2 plus a -2 over x plus 1 dx. And then I can integrate that with my natural log. So that is your process for all of these here. The 2008 exam is going to be similar. So when they say non-repeating factors, a repeating factor, so here we've got a +2 and a +1 would be if I had x plus 1 quantity squared. All right, now that you have that square term, things just get a little bit more complicated. We're just not going to cover that. All right, so I'm going to jump ahead here to the 2012 version. So I'm going to just rewrite here, factor that denominator, x plus 2, x plus 1, dx is going to equal and some of this it feels like a rewrite, like an overwrite. Let's actually erase this equal sign so we're not linking that to the integrand. So I'm going to have my a over, again, if you wrote them in the opposite order, it doesn't matter. In the end, it's going to be the same. Just watch if you're comparing with others. So then I'm going to have my 5x plus 8 is equal to ax plus 1 plus bx plus 2. Then I'm going to let x equal -1. So now I've got 3 is equal to b. And then let x equal -2. So then I've got -2 is equal to -a. So then a is equal to 2. So now I can go back up to my original expression here, and I can say that I've got from 0 to 1 of 2 over the quantity x plus 2 plus 3 over the quantity x plus 1 dx. So that's going to be 2 natural log absolute value x plus 2 plus 3 natural log absolute value x plus 1 evaluated between 0 and 1. So then I'm going to have a 2, excuse me, 2 natural log of 3 plus 3 natural log of 2. That's from evaluating at my upper limit, minus, in my lower limit, 2 natural log of 2 plus 3 natural log of 1. And then we're going to simplify. Let's see, I've got 2 natural log of 3 and no other natural logs of 3. So 2 natural log of 3 is going to stay. 3 natural log of 2 minus 2 natural log of 2 is going to be a natural log of 2. Natural log of 1 is a 0, so this is going to be eliminated. And then we have our result for that problem. Thank you very much.